So yesterday I made a video talking about how Sony to me has become a scummy ass company of how they have, even though they've removed the PSN requirement on Helldivers 2, they are still restricting all of the countries that you could not make a PSN account in from buying Helldivers 2. They completely delisted it from the Steam page. And just when I thought that they were going to be the scummiest company, EA, the fucking great EA, they just come in and they were just like, hey, we hear you guys talking shit about Sony, but give us a second. We're going to one-up you. And that's exactly what they did yesterday. So yesterday, this started going around while there was a few people, a few pages tweeting out about all this, where supposedly the CEO of EA says that they are looking to put ads into their video games. That's right. Fucking EA. And you know what? When I heard this, yes, I was extremely pissed off about this. And I was annoyed. And I was just like, how in the fuck could the CEO of EA say something like this? But to be honest, after I thought about it for a split second, are we even surprised? Is any of us really surprised about this news? The fact that the CEO of EA wants to put ads into their video games. To me, when it comes to some of the worst companies, with some of the worst gaming companies out there right now, to me, EA has been at the absolute top level of the worst when it comes to video game companies, I think, for a long time now. And the main reason why I have thought that they have been a terrible company is majority of the time is the shit that they have put out in recent times, especially when it comes to their sporting games. Back in the day, back in the 2000s, things like Madden and FIFA were regarded as amazing games, and people loved to play FIFA and loved to play Madden. But now, they are just chock full of microtransactions, and really the actual game itself is just shithouse. No one really cares too much at the company about the quality of the games. That's what it really seems like. And all they care about is just making a buck. So when I saw this news, when I saw this going around on Twitter earlier today, not one part of me was really surprised about this. And this also just comes days after the CEO of EA, the exact same motherfucking guy, talked about Battlefield and how he mentioned that it would be another tremendous live service game. That's fucking right. So you can only bet your ass that the next Battlefield game, which, you know what, I was kind of looking forward to, because Battlefield 2042, when it initially got released, was a mess. That game was terrible. I remember playing the beta for that game, and it was a shit show. And then when it came out, it was a fucking horrible game. And they did improve on it after time. I did play it just recently, and I have to admit, it's a decent game. It's a decent game, but I was 100% looking forward to the next Battlefield for the fact that, like, hey, there's a potential that they're going to learn from their past of what they did in the previous Battlefield. But it's EA. Of course not. The CEO saying this has just made me lose even more faith in the company and more faith in Battlefield altogether. Now, I heard a lot of discussion about this on Twitter, obviously, and the one thing that I got from a lot of people was that they were saying that, like, this is already a thing in games. That, you know, them putting, like, ads into video games is kind of already a thing. But they were more alluding to product placement, which, to me, at least the way I see it, is completely different from ads itself. Product placement has been around in video games for a long time, especially in racing games. It was a very massive thing because it was easy to just, you know, in the environment, just drop, like, put a billboard in, which is like, you know, a usual thing that you would see on side of the road, and be like a real product in real life. But then we've also seen other product placements in other video games. You know, in Matrix, we saw Powerade, which was like, to me, it was almost like a sore thumb. That's how much it stuck out. And then I also saw in the recent Death Stranding game as well, is that they had a massive product placement when it came to Monster Energy and also Norman Reedus's show, Ride. And to me, I think that when it comes to product placements itself, yes, they stick out like a sore thumb at times, but I feel like they're not as bad as an actual ad. Where this CEO of EA, when he says ad, you 100% know what this man is talking about. There's no if, buts, or, hey, this has been in video games for a long time. No, when this man says that he's looking to implement ads into their video games, you know exactly what this guy is talking about. And I saw some absolutely hilarious examples of this on Twitter as well, especially involving Star Wars Jedi Survivor, of where you're just playing the game, you go to walk into a room, into a boss fight, and then a fucking Burger King ad just randomly pops up on the screen. Like, to me, you know what? As much as I think that something like that is completely wild, and it's almost like it's unbelievable, where you kind of look at it and you're like, nah, that possibly can't happen. When it comes to EA, a part of my brain actually kind of believes it. But when it comes to them talking about them putting ads in the video games, even though that Burger King like ad is kind of, you know, it is somewhat unrealistic, and I don't think that they would actually go that far. I'm trying to like think of what he really means when he says implementing ads. Because if he said product placement, that would be like somewhat understandable. But to me, when he comes to say putting up ads, I think an actual genuine ad. And the way that I see it is that maybe in some games, especially in games that where it's not like a full action game, say like a clicking game. Like, I can't really think of anything from EA. Like The Sims, actually, yeah, The Sims. Say you're playing something like The Sims, and like a little ad pops up at the bottom of the screen or in the left top corner, and you have to click the X to get rid of the ad. I can 100% seeing something like that being implemented in some parts of their games, or even in other games where you go to pause the game, and on the pause menu, it's just a fucking ad in the left corner, or you go on the main menu and it's just ads everywhere implemented to the game. To me, I could 100% seeing EA do like pop-up ads 100%, as long as they're like, you know, trying to get, that's why they're finding a way to like try and implement it, and they're looking into it, is because they obviously don't want to, you know, stop the player from actually playing the game completely, where it's just like, you know, you go to play the game, then all of a sudden a fucking ad comes up, you have to wait 5 seconds to skip it, or you have to sit through a whole 15 seconds of an ad before you can get back to your video game. Regardless of the way that they do it, to me, is fucking scummy. EA already tries to take as much as money from everyone as possible. They try to drain your wallet with all the microtransactions that they like to put into their games and release half-ass shit. Like Star Wars Jedi Survivor, I did enjoy the game months after its release, because when it first got released, it was a terrible release. And every game that EA releases in recent time is fucking terrible. They are horrible. EA as a company in whole is horrible. Like, the one thing that keeps Apex from being like an extremely good game at times is EA itself, because EA servers are fucking terrible. The amount of microtransactions that are in Apex is ridiculous. It's insane. The Apex store right now is fucked. Like, there's so much shit in the store, and you know it's not the developers. It's never the devs don't want that shit. That's always the publishers. That is 100% EA. Man, and if I have to one day boot up Apex, and I fucking swear that when I go to press ready to ready up in my game for Apex, and it says, and it's a fucking ad, and I have to watch the ad before I can actually ready up for my ranked game, I will put a hole through my fucking monitor. I swear. I will break my monitor. I swear.
I'm gonna break my monitor, I swear.
But I'd like to hear what you guys have to think about this down below. Yeah, to me, this is not surprising, but it still baffles my fucking brain as well. But yeah, that's it from me, guys. Peace out.